How's everybody doing tonight? We are back. We are ready and excited about preparing something awesome for everybody out there to demonstrate how simple it is to just be in your natural kitchen environment and making a wonderful a classical Italian dish called Bolognese. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. But before we do that, we're going to have a little contest. My chef Corey over here.
What's up, everybody? Great to be back. Oh, check out the shoes. Every week we'll be doing a new shoe.
Anyways, so I want to thank the Switex. We're up in Niagara Falls this evening. We're in their wonderful home. We're using their kitchen. They invited us to come in this evening to do our demonstration. They were so pleasant. Look at this wonderful picture they have on their refrigerator. A picture of my wife and I. Awesome, right? All right, so we're going to get busy. This is what we're going to do. We are going to have a contest. Chef Corey against the executive chef, certified executive chef, Steve Foreman. And we're going to see who can whip cream the fastest and bring it to a stiff peak. So we're over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to
pause that.
Yeah, right. So you got to watch this. And here we go. You ready?
Ready.
You say go.
Go.
I'm going to beat him. Oh, snap. We're getting heavy cream everywhere. Oh, come on. Come on. Ah! 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 This is trash.
Oh my gosh.
This is how you whip cream real fast at your home. You put it on ice, you put it in an ice cold bowl, and you try to whisk it as best you can. Oh my God, my
Or
arm
you
is...
use a KitchenAid mixer like I use.
Mine's getting there. My arm's about to fall off. I'm about to lose by default. I don't know if I can go any longer. I'm dying over here. I don't think I can go any longer.
Is that what she said?
Oh! Hey, easy. G-rated. My arm.
I think I won.
It's not a soft peach yet. It's not a soft peach yet. We got heavy cream everywhere. Sorry, Erica.
Oh my god.
Mine's getting there. Mine's getting there. Oh, he's cheating now. He's cheating. He took it out of his...
Okay, Corey took it out the ice. I guess you decided to do that too.
Oh, mine's getting there. Mine's getting there. Look at mine. Mine's getting there. Mine's getting there. Ah! You guys decide who's winning. Mine is soft peach. No.
Oh. No.
Mine is soft peach. Oh.
Look at you making a mess.
I'm done. Oh, snap.
You're done?
Let's look.
Oh,
Let's look.
that's amazing. Look at mine. Mine's way better.
Let's see.
His is soft.
I have a stiff peak. You certified executive chef. What?
So Corey,
2-0.
twice in a row?
Easy, Foreman.
I'm
Easy.
just saying.
All right, so Corey's going to talk about what Corey. I'm out of breath. Holy cow. So what Corey's going to do, he's going to explain the importance of cooking pasta properly. It's very, very important that you learn how to cook pasta. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll just cook it, they'll overcook it, they'll rinse it, and then when they go to serve it, there's no flavor. So what Chef Corey's going to do right now, he's going to explain the importance of cooking pasta properly. So I'm going to turn it back over to Chef Corey.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? I'm just washing my hands. I got a little
Careful.
whipped cream from certified executive chef Steve Foreman. Is that what we're going by now? Got it everywhere. All right. So it's very important that you get a proper sized pot, and you want it to come to a roaring boil. And we've already seasoned it with olive oil and with salt. Heavy amount of salt. That way, your pasta actually has flavor to it. Two things the salt does. It reduces bitterness and it elevates the natural sweetener in the pasta. Since we're making bolognese, a very traditional Italian dish, it calls for a flat type of pasta. So we're going to be using fettuccine, courtesy of Wegmans. I really thought we were actually going to make some fresh pasta, but you can't even make whipped cream, so. So we're gonna.
He has no job when he goes back to the arena. I'm just letting y'all know.
The guy says, I think you need to keep up those walks to an hour.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Chef Guy, I hear you.
So the pasta, we're gonna want to cook that al dente, a little bit, not too loose. You kind of want a little crisp to it because it's going to finish cooking in the bolognese. So, do you want me to stir the pot?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm gonna jump in.
Courtesy of the Switex, we got Pastasaurus. Is this what we're calling? Let's pan to the family. Let's get them.
We really appreciate them letting use their kitchen also. It's been awesome.
Anytime.
And the olive oil in that water will also help the pasta not coagulate and stick together.
Okay.
So chef's going to get into the bolognese, but he's going to need an onion dice, so I will be dicing an onion for Chef Steve.
So while Corey gets ready for that, now mind you, he's going to show you the proper way, and I want my wife to zoom in on that. But we're going to go into developing developing the proper way of making a bolognese, which is basically a meat sauce.
So Chef Steve apparently has this whole video going of he wants 1 million views to how to dice an onion properly.
Oh yeah.
So that's what, Time and Honey Chef?
Yes, sir.
On YouTube?
Yes, sir.
So basically from what I learned on how to dice an onion from my culinary instructor, Mark Wright, shout out Mark Wright, is you make horizontal, or vertical, and then horizontal,
Yep.
and then you grip it, and then the knife just does all the work. The biggest thing, sharp knife. Got the windows open here, so I'm not crying either. And then one thing we do with all the scraps of the onion, the skins and everything, you're able to put those in a Ziploc bag and save them if you want to make chicken stock, vegetable stock, or even veal stock.
Put them in the freezer.
And you can freeze them as well. So I don't know how much actual onion you're going to need though, Chef.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Chef Corey. So, what we're doing is we're preparing a classic bolognese sauce. Bolognese is basically a ragu. That word ragu comes from that French word ragu, and that simply means a stew. So, what we're really doing is just making a meat stew, the Italian version. And that's where you get into the bolognese. So there are certain things that must have, that the bolognese sauce must have. It must consist of course, wine. It must consist of ground chuck. It must consist of a salty pork, which is here, pancetta. We need to have our sofrito. Now, what I want to explain about these flavor bases, sofrito, the Italian sofrito, is similar to the French mirepoix, which is basically diced onion, diced carrot, diced celery, and it's sauteed down, stewed down into the stew to give it that flavor base that the sauce is going to need. Now, again, it's 2 parts onion, 1 part carrot, 1 part celery, and it's a part of the ingredient or the flavor base necessary to elevate the flavors that we're going to combine together when we put all of the ingredients in our pan. We need to have diced tomatoes, which we got here, and then lastly, of course, is our milk. It's got to have milk in it as well. And we're going to top it off with a little chopped parsley, which we have, and then we're going to finish it off when we go to serve our guests this evening with some shredded or grated Parmesan. So we want to now go over to our stove. We got our stove on high, and we have a Dutch oven here. Oh yeah, this is ready to go. Thank you, sir. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure the pan is hot because, again, what we want to do is we want to saute to where we're caramelizing the vegetables. And again, we've talked about this before. That caramelization is the reaction of sugar and heat. So the natural sugars that are going to go in, that are coming out of this onion, the carrot, and the celery, they're sweating out as we saute, and they're now going to react to the heat, and it's going to create a flavor profile to the dish. That's why it's the sofrito. We're going to be able to get those flavors going on in there. So here we go. I'm going to add my oil, and then I'm going to bring over my onion. That's what you want to hear.
You hear that, John?
Is John on?
I don't think so.
And then I'm going to add my carrot. And I'm going to add my celery. And I'm going to let that cook for a little bit. And now you, look at that. So you can already see it caramelizing. You want that oil to be hot, that pan to be hot. And I'm using a Dutch oven. This is awesome.
Chef, how come you didn't put garlic in that?
So there is no garlic, Chef Corey. Thank you for asking. For some reason, this is an Italian dish, and it doesn't possess garlic in the recipe. So the original version of Bolognese actually didn't even have tomato in its original version, but over the years, they began to incorporate ingredients, and now it's solidified as the actual recipe to make a Bolognese, consisting of your tomato, your sofrito, your milk, your pork product, and your beef product. So now we're going to add our beef. So there's no garlic, which is very surprising. I love garlic. So we add our beef, and we press down on it. We're going to make sure we're pushing down on the beef because we want it to all separate. And it's really, really simple. It's just thank you. So what you're going to want to do is, again, this is so simple. We're doing everything right here in this Dutch oven. It's so simple. You got your mise en place. Remember mise en place? Things in place, being organized, making sure you have all your ingredients together. And so we're just constantly chopping this up in our pan. And you can see the beef separating. So it's going to crumble up inside the Dutch oven. And you can look at the bottom. I want you to look at the bottom. That's caramelization. That's the natural sugars and the fat from the ground chuck sweating out and cooking at the bottom of the pan. And when I add the liquid is going to cause the drippings at the bottom to lift off the surface and be incorporated into the sauce to create that flavor base that we're looking for. So we're going to continue mixing this up. And it's very simple. I mean, it's so simple for you to just do this. Keep in mind, when we talk about cooking with love, what we're saying is we're cooking with patience. We're letting the ingredients do what it's supposed to do. We're letting the equipment and the pan, the heat, we're letting it do what it's supposed to do. So we have to be patient. We can't rush it because that's the whole purpose behind cooking, is getting all of the flavors to be incorporated the way they need to be incorporated. So, Chef Corey, are we ready to drain?
We are ready to drain,
All right, so let me
Chef.
turn this down. I'm going to move over. Corey's going to drain this pasta. He's going to talk about pasta right now.
So I cooked it a little bit before al dente. And I did that because, number one, nobody likes soggy, chewy pasta. And number two, it gives it a nice little bite, but it's also going to keep cooking as it cools. Here's the pasta. Now, one thing a lot of people at home will do is they'll rinse their pasta automatically after they drain it. That's a no-no. The main reason is you want those starches on the pasta to absorb whatever sauce you're serving with it. In our case, a Bolognese.
Oh, sorry about that. You have a little bit.
Oh, I thought this was mine.
No, it's okay.
So I got a lightly olive oil pan, and then I'm going to hit it with a little bit more olive oil, just so the pasta doesn't stick. And then I'm going to mix it. Thank you, Chef. And then we're going to let that sit.
With the olive oil on it, will the sauce still stick to the pasta?
Yes.
Yep, it's going to absorb. That pasta is just going to absorb.
I'm not drenching it in olive oil.
Yeah.
So.
And we put that off to the side, and then we're going to continue. Thank you, Chef Corey. So we're going to continue with making the Bolognese right here. But that was how you do two things at once. You have your water boiling that we had. We had it seasoned with the salt, with the olive oil, as Chef Corey said. Once it was boiling, and I really liked how he brought out the point of making sure you have the pan big enough so that you're letting the pasta swim. It wants to swim. It wants to be free. And you got to give it the room to be free so it can cook. And so once it's cooked al dente or a little bit under, we drain it. And the reason why Chef Corey said is so that the sauce will adhere to the pasta, but also it gives the pasta body. That's what you want, is when you present your pasta either in a salad or when you're mixing it with your Bolognese sauce or any other sauce that you're using in Alfredo, the pasta will have body to it. So it will sit on the pan and it will look presentable. It won't look weak and limpy like overcooked wet noodles look like. You know, that overcooked wet noodle. So we're still stirring. Now what I got to add here, now I'm going to add the pancetta. So I'm adding my diced, uncured pancetta. I'm going to mix that in there. And all you got to do is dice it up real fall. You can get pancetta at Wegmans Obviously, we use a lot of Wegman products. So hopefully when this cooking demo starts to get a little bit bigger, Wegmans will want to start giving us, some of the product, maybe for free or something. I don't know. I'm just trying, right? Got to try.
Did you add your wine to that, Chef?
Not yet. I'm going to. So I got all the meat in there. I got the mirepoix in there. Remember, that sofrito is called a flavor base. You got to have that sofrito in there. If not, you're going to be missing some flavors because that's where you get a lot of your flavors from. The ingredients that we're using is what comes together in that Dutch oven or in your pot that you're using to bring all those collective flavors with the milk, with the white wine, with the salty pork, with the ground chuck, with the sofrito. And then later on we add the parsley and the Parmesan cheese. And then the flavor of the pasta is going to come through as well. And it's going to sit lovely. It's going to be phenomenal. So we have the pancetta in there. Now we're going to take our white wine. Now, look at this white wine I got here.
Shout out to Jill and Kyle, brother and sister-in-law.
So my good friend here, Chef Corey, brought me this. Now, many of you out there that may know me, you know I am a diehard Buckeyes fan. This team up north, trash. Trash. This team up north, Michigan, trash. So I'm making sure I don't touch the emblem. I don't want to touch the Michigan emblem. Yes, Buckeyes. So now we're going to add our wine.
You just caressed them.
So we got my wine in there now. Oh, look at that. And you can smell it. Doesn't it smell great in here, people?
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
So now that we're going to let the wine cook out, now let's talk about bolognese, as I said earlier. So bolognese is actually similar to the American version of just spaghetti and meat sauce. That's really what bolognese is. But what happens is when our American version, is incorporated into the culture, we use spaghetti noodles where bolognese, you're supposed to use a flat noodle like tagliatelle, but unfortunately we're going to be using fettuccine tonight, which works. And then also it has milk in it, which typically people don't put milk in their spaghetti and meat sauce, right? But bolognese has that spaghetti or has that milk in the sauce, which is very helpful in bringing out a certain flavor to the sauce itself. Culturally in Italy as well, just the bolognese alone is different from the south and from the north. The northern version of bolognese, and I just want to say bolognese in Italian is actually said bolognese. We Americans say bolognese, but in Italy it's called bolognese. And in the northern, they mince everything and the meat is grounded like I used, and it's very fine. Where in southern Italy, the culture for bolognese would be where they have whole cuts of meat and chunks of meat braising, and then it's used into the bolognese. So it's a much chunkier sauce that's used in the southern culture of Italy when they make their bolognese sauce. So, but we're using the northern version. We just use the ground chuck and the diced up pancetta and the diced up items of the sofrito, which is your onion, your carrot, and your celery. So just a little FYI for you for the bolognese sauce, but this is a classic, how it should be made, how it should be served with the kind of pasta and all that. So let's go back over here. Let's take a look at here. So the wine seems to have evaporated, which is what we wanted. The next thing we wanted to add is our tomatoes. So just a can of tomatoes. We're going to put that in there. We're going to stir this around. Absolutely fantastic. And as that cooks, we're now going to also add the milk.
Does it matter if it's whole milk?
Good question. So one of the wonderful guests that are with us this evening, she asked the question, what kind of milk? I'll be honest with you, I would use heavy cream. I just like that milk fat, make it flavorful.
Same heavy cream that you tried to whip.
The same heavy cream that I won. Corey thinks he won, but I won. I know. If they took a vote, they're all voting against me. But anyway, whole milk. I would use whole milk because I don't want skim milk. I don't want 2% milk. I want at least as much fat as I can get. That's why I would use a little bit of heavy cream. But we're going to use regular whole milk for today. And we're going to pour that in there. All right? We got that. Corey thinks he's really something because he beat me in, well, let me.
In life?
Really? Really? So here we are. We're letting it cook down. And it's okay for it to look like that because as it continues to cook and evaporate, it's going to reduce down a little bit more. And now in a little bit, we're going to add we want to add some salt and pepper now, but we're going to add the parsley and the Parmesan cheese. So the salt, we want to be a little mindful of that because we do have the salt that's from the pancetta also in the dish. We add a little pepper here. Let's let this stir. And making sure that everything is incorporated, all of the flavors are there. And again, the kind of pot that you want to use. This Dutch oven is amazing. You should invest in a Dutch oven. You can do so much with it. You can throw it in the oven. You can braise and put the lid on it, throw it in the oven. You can cook a sauce on top of the stove. There's so many great things you can use with a Dutch oven. Or you can just use a stainless steel pot as we cooked our pasta in, which is also helpful. But it's important to have the right tools. When you're in your home, it's important to just have the right tools. Not always the best tools, but the right tools. The ones that will work for you. It's doing its job. Like here, we have a nice heavy bottom. It's a heavy pot that we use, so the heat distributes evenly, and that's what you want. You want the heat to distribute evenly through the bottom into the vessel, so it's cooking and incorporating all the heat evenly throughout your dish, so you don't have hot spots. And so you continue to just cook it evenly. We made sure we had the right size pot for the pasta so the pasta had room to cook so it doesn't stick. So all these little tools or tips is helpful in your own home. It's so simple. And we want people to know how simple it is to cook. You have a question, Dan? Dan got a question.
If you could just give us a your opinion on like what kind of frying pans.
Oh, he wants to know about frying pans. So, well, for a frying pan,
I use Teflon.
Teflon? Oh, Teflon. That's the brand. But that's an expensive brand. The average person's not going to buy Teflon. But to the question, cast iron is great to have. I have a cast iron pan right here. But something with stainless steel. You want to have stainless steel so the heat distributes the best. It's expensive. Copper bottom saute pans. The reason why is because copper conducts heat the best, evenly and perfectly. But again, they're more expensive, so I'm not going to spend $100 for a saute pan with a copper bottom. I'm just not doing it. I will say this, shout out to Steve Foreman for his wife on Mother's Day. He bought her a brand new set of pots and pans, costing a good chunk of money, but she's worth it. The camera person is worth it. She's worth it. So now she's going to be able to cook wonderfully. She's been watching these videos later on as they upload, learning all these tips and everything. She's trying her best. She's doing awesome. She's got some keeper recipes, y'all. I'm going to let y'all know about them. All right, so now we're going to add some parsley as we keep cooking. Got that parsley in there? Huh? Yeah, I'm gonna. It's been hot, but I'll turn it up now. All right, so basically we're just about now. The best thing to do is turn this on low. What you're going to do is you're going to want to turn this low now, and you're going to want to cover it. And now you're just going to want to sit low and cook for a good hour and a half. The longer, the better, because all of the flavors are just going to be stewing inside that pot. All that goodness just increases. More goodness on top of goodness on top of goodness. And when you go to eat, it's going to be nothing but goodness on the plate. That's what you want. So it's important to know these small little tips that you put the cover on it, you turn it on low, and you let it cook now for at least an hour and a half. Every once in a while, go by, stir it, take a sip of your glass of wine or whatever beverage of your choice. Go back to the stove, stir it, go back, sit down, maybe read something, sit, go back to the pot, stir it again. But that's something that you want to do. Here now, let's look at the pasta. This is perfectly cooked pasta. Whoopsie. It's on the floor now. Whoopsie. Hercules, where are you? That's your little pet dog. He cooked it perfect. So what happens is, al dente, which means to the tooth. He drained it, he let it sit on the sheet pan, and the residual heat is still cooking it just a little bit more. So now it's just nice and firm enough and soft enough to enjoy while you're enjoying your dish. So, we're ready for that. We're ready for this.
So you're telling me to find out how the pasta is done, you don't throw
said that? Who said that?
Well, that's how I grew up.
Listen,
Wait a minute.
people that
heard that
grew
too,
up and
Careful.
being taught if you can throw pasta against the wall and it sticks, it's ready. That's equivalent to SpaghettiOs.
Oh, gotcha.
You can tell how the chef
That
got
is
so upset
overcooked
about
pasta.
that.
Okay.
I thought you were going to charge the camera, chef.
No. All right, so we're ready to serve our guests, but because I already made a pot of bolognese earlier, so I could serve my guests. So Chef Corey, what he's going to do, he's going to go ahead and put the plate. He's going to put the pasta on the plate, and I'm going to come around and put the sauce on the pasta. But we have nice garlic bread served for them. We made a nice little salad for them so that they can enjoy everything. So, but again, it's very, very important. It's very, very important that we make sure that we're using all of the right tools, having our mise en place out there. Bolognese was very, very simple. If you remember what we did, we started with hot boiling water for our pasta. Then we jumped over to the pot for making the bolognese, and we had the bolognese sauce all ready to go, so that we took one ingredient at a time, making sure it has the pancetta, making sure it has the milk, making sure it has the sofrito, which is your onion, carrot, celery. Yes.
Do you have to always lay your pasta out on a pan when you cook it? Is it?
So, good question. So here's here's how you can do things. The reason why he's doing it this way is because I wanted to put the sauce and nappe it, or to ladle it onto the pasta. But just look at how the pasta sits up. You see how that's called body. Look at that body. That's called body because the pasta was cooked properly. If it was overcooked and really wet, it would have fell. It would have been, soupy onto the pot. But to answer the question, so what I do is when we put it on sheet pans, we're letting it cool down for a minute. I could have drained it and thrown it right into the sauce and then serve it that way, but I wanted to separate the two. So when you make a salad, let's talk for instance when you make tuna salad or pasta salad. When you drain your pasta the way we did today, cooking it perfectly, just a little under, drain it. Residual heat will still cook the pasta while it's on the sheet pan. Not rinsing it, tossing a little olive oil, letting it sit on the sheet pan, let it cool naturally. Then after it's cooled naturally at room temperature, put it in a bowl or put it in a Ziploc bag, put it in your cooler. Make your mixture with your salad, whatever dressing you're making to use the pasta salad. Now afterwards, throw the pasta into the salad, mix it all up. You will see how much body your pasta will have. That when you scoop it out, it will look fuller. It won't look flat. But it's good and important to put it on a sheet pan so it cools naturally. You don't want to cool it by putting it under cold water. You're rinsing off all that starch. So that's a good question, and I really appreciate that. So here we go. I'm going to bring this bolognese over. We're ready to serve our guests. Oh, see? So when you see the finished product, here is the finished bolognese. You see that? It should look it doesn't look dry, but it looks a little coarse. It's not going to be soupy, okay? You don't want it soupy. So, bolognese is not supposed to look soupy. So now, Corey, where's the cheese? We want to put some cheese and some parsley on this for them,
I got you, chef.
so we can garnish the plate. Look at how it just stands up perfectly. That's amazing, Chef Corey. You are actually good at something, I guess, huh?
I'm good at a lot of things.
I heard he's a legend.
Yeah.
Legend, Corey Gadish.
Oh, God.
That he's not. And then we're going to follow with a little parsley.
God, it smells so good.
Look at this. Look at this meal we made for these people, huh?
Yeah.
Woo!
Flavor time.
Flavor.
Oh, yeah.
And there we are.
Thank you.
And they got that. So, to finish out, we really thank everybody. We certainly thank the Switex for letting us use their home, their friends for being over to join us. I appreciate
Gracious of
you.
I appreciate my comie, my co-me for today, Chef Corey.
The legend, Corey Kadish.
He's not gonna let.
Yeah, he's not going to let it go, I know. So, but we just want to show you, the purpose of all of this is to show the simplicity of cooking. We hope that you've enjoyed tonight's demonstration of how to cook Bolognese sauce. It was something that's classical but very simple. The importance of knowing how to cook your pasta properly, having all of your ingredients out, having the right ingredients, and then working in your kitchen and just flowing so that it's simple and it's fun. That's what we want people to do, is to enjoy working in their own kitchen environment by using a few tips that we offer through these demonstrations, and to watch yourself become this legend culinarian.
So I'd also like to add a special thank you to you guys for the gifts as well. Jarrett, we didn't get a gift from you last week, so we'll see if we'll be cooking at your house again. But I'd also like to give a little shout out to the viewers too. And if there's anything you guys, have wanted to make or have a hard time cooking, shoot a little thing in the comments, and maybe we'll do that one day. And just to be clear, this shirt is ideal for me.
These are the gifts that this wonderful family gave us for being here and using their kitchen. We enjoy it. We thank them so much. We didn't ask for any of this, but they showed their appreciation for using their kitchen, doing the demonstration. So we thank you guys very much.
We got great friends who made those.
Oh yes, Lisa, right? Kim made these also. So that was awesome for her to do that first. So we appreciate it for doing that.
Thank you.
All right?
Especially for you.
I love it.
So
Hopefully you guys like the food.
Again, hopefully we'll see you next Thursday. I believe we're going to be at another family's home using their kitchen. But we again want to thank everybody for joining in. And as Chef Corey said, if there's something that you'd like to see us do, go ahead and drop us a line in one of the comments. Go ahead and visit our Facebook pages. Drop in a comment. Mention something that you would like to see us do, or something that you want to have a tip on how to make certain things. Go ahead and give us those ideas, and we'll see what we can do to incorporate it into these demonstrations, because it's all about trying to make it easy and fun for everybody.
Chef, I got one last question. What type of kicks am I going to wear next week? Don't
Trash.
know.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a great evening. Stay safe. Be careful out there. Do the right thing.
Salute.